Hello, everybody. We started reading the book Tips for Happy Living by Swami Tejomayananji. And we saw that he has given in this book lessons from life on life. So basically, his life, his learnings, he's given to all of us in sutra form. And we also read yesterday what sutra means, right? Small aphorisms, tiny, very succinct, crisp sentence, one-liners that they're simply pregnant with meaning, super potent, and the rest of us benefit from them, from the meaning, right? And so now we're in chapter 1. It's about taking charge. Now the aphorisms on life are presented. Well begun. A good start keeps a man ahead in the race. The sound of a conch or a bell heralds a sacred event. An auspicious beginning indicates a fruitful and fulfilling journey ahead. The Lord started this creation after chanting two auspicious words, Atha and Om, and they are therefore believed to bring auspiciousness to all human endeavors. All sutra literature thus start with the word Atha. Atha is now. The Sanskrit language is not just a medium of communication, but also conveys the philosophy and culture of our land. The passive voice is used often in Sanskrit. It indicates that the doer of action, the subject, is only an instrument and not the prime importance, and not of prime importance. What is done through the subject is more important. In Hindu scriptures, very often the author's name is not written at all or written at the bottom. The English language uses active voice more often, and the author's names are printed prominently on the cover pages, many times bolder than the title of the book itself. Instead of saying, I present aphorisms, it is said here, the aphorisms are presented by me. The lessons learned by me are valuable. The opportunity to pen them and talk on them only helps me reflect upon my experiences and strengthens my knowledge. This is something I've always enjoyed. Any scriptural book we read is actually directly applying for us. So even when Swamiji is writing his own life experiences, he's again saying it helps him reflect upon his own experiences and strengthening his knowledge. It's beautiful while helping us. Testing time. The lessons on life presented through these tips or sutras are culled from the lessons learned from life's experiences. In schools, the lessons are taught first and then the tests are taken afterwards. In life, test comes first and the lessons are learned afterwards. This is amazing. In life, we are tested again and again. The new lessons are learned each time. In life, anyone can test us at any time in any way. Also, anyone and everyone seems to evaluate, grade, and judge us, and we seem to have no say in either the test or the evaluation. How much more do we need to prepare ourselves for facing facing the tests of life? In a way, I feel free, kind of. Why prepare? Anyway, we are not in control. Oh, that's exactly what they say next. So, why should I learn the lessons of life? Why not life itself? Teach them to me. I guess I'm not alone in that thought. Everybody thinks that way. All right. Swamiji says the second sutra is knowing and practicing which life becomes easy and happy. That's the sutra. Knowing and practicing which life becomes easy and happy. Life is what you make of it. I once came upon a book which started with the sentence, life is difficult. Another said the right opposite. It is difficult to accept, that life is difficult. The third said, life is simple, we make it complicated. All these three statements are true. It depends on how you view life and live it. People live their lives in different ways. For example, some people borrow books and never return them. A man advised his friend, hey, never lend your book to anyone as it is never returned. The friend asked, how do you know? So this man replies, that is how I made my library. Some return the book, but in terrible condition, with scribbles and frayed edges and torn pages, and some return it in the same condition, and yet others in better condition than when borrowed. Isn't that cool? Which category are you? A man had a strange shopping list of 20 cockroaches, 15 spiders, 3 lizards, half a kilo of dust. This is indeed a very strange list. When asked, he said, the landlady has asked me to leave the flat in exactly the same condition as I when I first came in. That's a bit much. So, how do we live our life? Do we live well and leave the world a better place? I like that option. Do we mess up our lives and make it terrible for others? I don't like that option. Do we complicate matters and make it difficult for others? Not very appealing. Are we problem creators, problem solvers, or ourselves problems? Sometimes I guess we play all those roles. Anyway, we should live in such a way that we make life simple, easy, and happy for ourselves and for others. We therefore need to learn how to do so. Life's lessons. Cannot life itself teach me lessons? True, life is the best teacher. However, a wise man learns from other people's mistakes, a fool from his own, and a bigger fool never. Instead of learning by trial and error or hit or miss method, we can learn from the wisdom of others and then test those lessons through our own experiences. Wrong lessons. There is also a chance of learning the wrong lessons from life. A teacher was demonstrating the ill effects of alcohol to her class. So she put some worms in a beaker of alcohol. The worms struggled and they died. What lesson did you learn from this? Asked the teacher. A student concluded, whenever you have worms in your stomach, drink alcohol. Lesson from the wise help us validate our knowledge. Knowing and doing. Pujya Gurudev once said, knowing is not doing. Doing is doing. Knowing how to live well is not enough. We must put the learned lessons into practice. Then alone does life become easy and happy. Having learned the lessons from the scriptures, you should perform actions. You must perform action. Gita chapter 16, verse 24. What is life and how should we live it? There are two imperatives in life: to deal with situations as they come and to create one's future. Facing life. So the sutra goes, there are two imperatives in life: to deal with situations as they come and to create one's future. Facing life. Each day, our life, each day of our life, we are faced with various situations. They may be pleasant, unpleasant, unexpected, horrifying, terrifying, wonderful, boring, testing, gainful, painful, and so on. We have no choice but to face them. The important thing is, how do we respond to life's challenges? With what attitude? Do they overwhelm and overpower us? Are we able to play our role with pious? Do we get bowled over or do we hit a sixer? Do we stumble, grumble, crumble, or bounce back and march ahead? A man won 25 lakh rupees in lottery. He feared his wife would faint on hearing such unbelievable news. His friend volunteered to tell her. He said, "If you win the lottery of 25 lakhs, what will you do?" She said, "I'll give you half the money." The friend fainted. We must learn how to breeze through the situations of life with a smile. That is why Pujya Gurudev gave Chinmaya Vidyalayas the motto, keep smiling. Through all the challenges of life, keep smiling. In fact, the challenges faced should stimulate us. The obstacles should challenge us. And difficulties bring out the best in us. Making your life. Life is not just about facing situations. There is more to it, isn't it? We can achieve our goals, fulfill our dreams, carve out a better future, create our own destiny. In the process of facing challenges, we should not get so tired and distracted that we have no energy or we forget our goal. In fact, our goal should be so inspiring that challenges become the fun of the journey in reaching our destination. However, for those who do not have a goal or dreams, their life is spent only in facing situations. For them, life can get difficult, empty, stressful, and painful. A man was told by his astrologer that he would have difficulties for 7.5 years, sade satis. He asked hopefully, "Will things improve thereafter?" The astrologer said, "No, but by then you'll get used to it." Uh, can I not live another's life? That's a good thought. I like that person the way they live. They have a better house, better job, better everything. Why not I live that life? That thought, has it crossed your mind? It has crossed mine. Can another not face my life's challenges for me? Following sutra says, there one cannot live the life of someone else. There one cannot live the life of someone else. Living my own life. I can live for another person. I can live for another person or a cause, but I cannot live another's life. That's beautiful. However close I am, however strong my desire may be, nor can another live my life. If I'm hungry, I alone will have to eat and satiate my hunger. When a child eats well, the mother feels very satisfied, but her hunger pangs don't go away. This is so true. I just fed my children right now. I was very happy that they ate well, but then I had to feed myself too. So very true. This may seem rather obvious to many, but its implications is at times not well understood. Often we wish that someone else would face difficult situations for us. Sometimes we want to shield others from facing unpleasant situations. Parents become tense and worried when their children have exams. This is meaningless. They cannot give the children's exams. Sometimes you get admission in many colleges. You have to decide which one to accept. If someone else decides, the decision is wrong. You will blame others for your difficulties. We alone have to take charge of our life and face it. My dad used to do this all the time. He would give me the pros and cons. I had to make my own decision choice. This is a cool way to live. Anyway, cannot one do anything for others? Do others have no role in our life? Of course they have. Mutual help, however, is possible. Sutra number 5 says, mutual help, however, is possible. Empowering. Yes, we can play an important role in others' lives and they in ours. We can support, motivate, help each other. This help is also possible up to a certain extent. You can take the horse to a water, but you cannot make it drink it. You cannot make it drink. A person with legal problems seeks a lawyer's advice. The lawyer may give him various options. Thereafter, he will have to decide and face the consequences of his choice. At a party, a doctor asked a lawyer, I get troubled even at social functions with people seeking medical advice. What should I do? How do I deal with such situations? The lawyer said, after advising, I send them the bill. That stops them. The next day, the doctor received a bill from this lawyer. Also, help is not always forthcoming. Therefore, one should not always wait, seek, or become dependent on external support for facing every situation of life. One should not seek favors unnecessarily or make others dependent whilst helping them. However, when help is really needed, we should not hesitate to take it or give it. A student with financial constraint studies on scholarship, and later on, when he prospers in life, he supports the education of others in need. Such mutual help leads to progress and prosperity for all. Parasparam. Parasparam bhavayan, bhavayanta shreya param avapsyata. Gita, chapter 3, verse 11. What obstructs the easy flow of help? What obstructs it? Sutra number 6. It says, accepting or giving this help, there should be no ego or arrogance. Ego is the biggest obstacle in giving and receiving help. Oh, I'm so good. I'm helping. Receiving help. We should not become dependent on others, ask for unnecessary help, or make it a habit of asking others. A habitual borrower asked his neighbor, "Are you going to play hockey today?" Expecting him to ask for the hockey stick, he replied, "Yes," the man said. "Good, then could I borrow your cricket bat?" However, when there is a genuine need, we should not let our pride come in the way. Some refuse to ask but accept help when given voluntarily. Some take pride in never accepting others' help. They feel, "I will not stretch my hand in front of anyone. I will not accept anyone's favor. I, I do not want to come under anyone's obligation." While striving, a man got lost. His pride would not allow him to ask for directions. Finally, he realized he would have to ask. He stopped at a local. He stopped the local man relaxing on the side of the road. He asked, "Where does this road lead to?" The man said, "I don't know." Annoyed, the driver said, "You're stupid. Being a local, you don't know even this much." The man replied, "I may be stupid, but I'm not proud and I'm not lost." Some say they will not take any help from God, yet they easily ask others. The giver is only the Lord. All others are beggars. Data ek Ram, Bhikhari sari dunya. Data eka Ram, Bhikhari sari dunya. Sudama, the poor Brahmin, had a subtle ego that he would not ask anything from his best friend, Sri Krishna, from his friend Sri Krishna. His wife finally persuaded him to go and meet Sri Krishna. When he met Lord Sri Krishna, he was given everything unasked. Helping others. Some feel that the giver's hand is always above the receiver's. They are somehow better off because they are better off. They give with an air of superiority, humbling the receiver with their words and gestures. They feel they have obliged the receiver. People show various attitudes in helping others. Some give with pride, some out of pity, some for selfish purpose, some indifferently, some when compelled, some as a habit, some with humility, some when asked, some unasked, some reluctantly, some when instructed by others, some are as a social obligation, or some as a meritorious act. Hmm. The only thing we need to keep in mind is not to have an air of superiority while helping others. Sutra number 7. What should be the attitude in giving and receiving help? Sutra number 7 says, life becomes beautiful only with humility. Stoop to conquer. A person may have everything, knowledge, wealth, and virtues, but if he is not humble, all is in vain. All else becomes beautiful with humility. Humility is listed first among the 20 essential values in Gita, chapter 13, verse 7. True knowledge endows humility. Vidya dadhati vinayam. Vidya dadhati vinayam or vinayam. Vinayam. Vidya dadati vinayam. Pujya Gurudev used to say, it is strange value. It is a strange value. The moment you think you have it, you have lost it. I am very humble. And you have lost it. Anyway, an outer show of humility is not humility. When all pride, mana, disappears, what remains is amana or humility. The great saint Rahim was quite prosperous and known for his generosity. He always kept his eyes down as he gave others. When questioned, he said, I cannot, I cannot meet the eyes of the people as they falsely praise my generosity. It is the Lord alone who gives. When a person gives with arrogance, the receiver's ego reacts. Keep your knowledge and wealth with yourself. We have others with humility. The receiver too feels humble. When the help, no, no, hold on. Keep your knowledge and wealth with yourself. When a person gives with arrogance, the receiver's ego reacts. Keep your knowledge and wealth with yourself. When we help others with humility, the receiver too feels humble. Even if the receiver is not humble, the receiver should be humble, grateful, and appreciative, and value the help and generosity of the giver. The chapter concludes with eighth sutra. It says, therefore, accepting the responsibility for one's life, one should, with all efforts, make it a success. Make it happen. Having understood that we alone have to face life and build it, we must take full charge of it. We must become accountable for this precious life given to us and own responsibility for making it a success or a failure. We cannot complain about life situations and blame others for what we make of it. Also, we cannot live in false hopes that success will come our way without efforts. Only thing that happens without effort is growing old. A young man was asked, what have you done to become a 25-year-old person? He replied, I did not die, despite my driving. Oh my. That was God's doing, not yours. That we live and grow in nature's efforts. How we live and progress is our efforts. We must put forth efforts to grow gracefully and successfully. There are four types of people: those who make it happen, those who talk of making it happen, those who talk of what happened, and those who wonder what happened. And we have to take charge of our life and make it happen. And that concludes chapter 1. Chapter 1 was how to take charge, right? And we saw life is what we make of it. Knowing is not doing. These are my key takeaways. Life is what you make of it, how you live it. There we touched, Swamiji touched on these areas. Are we problem creators or problem solvers? Do we leave the place better than we found it? Or do we keep a list like that man who kept a list of 20 cockroaches and 50 spiders, etc.? And knowing is not doing. And then it's a good idea to learn life lessons. Uh, Somebody is kind enough to teach you, and everybody teaches us, right? Um, Either they do good things and they teach us how to do good things, or they goof up real bad and they show us how not to goof up. So we learn from everybody. So keep your eyes open and learn. And as you keep learning, know that knowing all that is not doing. A simple example is daily exercise is good for health. You know you'll have good health when you exercise, but not doing the exercise, just knowing that fact is not going to be helpful. You must put it into action, right? And then facing life to deal with situations as they come, how to deal with situations as they come, what is the attitude with which you're facing life, and then making life your own. It should not be that we are only caught up with firefighting every day. Every day's challenges we fight and we forget our goal. No, no. We keep our goal in mind and we also respond to situations. And then the fourth sutra says there cannot, and we cannot live someone else's life. We can always live for somebody, for a cause, but we cannot live someone else's life and they cannot live ours, however close we might be. Right? Mutual help, however, is possible. We can help, but what is the attitude with which you help? That is what stops us from giving or receiving help. We saw as arrogance. In accepting or giving this help, there should be no ego or arrogance. And then he says, humility. That's a beautiful quality. One of the 20 essential values. I didn't know Gita listed essential values, 20 essential values. Humility is the first of them. And this is one value which you feel if you have lost it, he says. Right? Yeah. And then the chapter concludes with, therefore, accepting the responsibility of one's life, we should take all the effort to make it success. Our life, after all, we cannot let someone else live our life. We cannot live someone else's life. We have to make it happen. So, the only thing that happens without effort is growing old. Everything else with some effort. Udharet. I remember Swami Bodhatananda used the word udharet. You need to take that self effort. You need to get up. Hey, Arjuna, get up. Udharet is, I think, get up. I keep remembering that anytime I sort of laze around. Udharet, that comes to mind. Anyway, tomorrow we will see chapter 2. Jai Gurudev. Hari Om.